Hey friends, Chef Eddie Garza here. So happy to have you all back in my kitchen. Today I have a super awesome recipe for you all that's inspired by my friends from Venezuela or in Venezuela. It's called La Reina Pepiada, which literally translates to the Curvy Queen. Now, I don't know what that's all about. What I do know is that this dish is absolutely delicious. Now, it's got three parts. We got to make the arepas, they're the corn cakes. We're going to make the filling, which traditionally has chicken. Today we're doing it with chickpeas. And we're gonna make the mayonnaise, which is with aquafaba, the water from the chickpeas. So much work to do, so let's go ahead and get started. To make our arepas, we're just gonna need 2 cups of warm water and 1.5 cups of harina pan. This is a corn flour made specifically for arepas, not the same as you would use to make cornbread, corn muffins, or even tamales. This is for arepas. For the filling, we're going to need 1.5 cups of cooked garbanzo beans or chickpeas, 1 avocado, half a cup of diced onions, 1 clove of garlic minced, and just a few sprigs of cilantro chopped, salt and pepper to taste. For the mayonnaise, we're gonna need just 1/4 cup of the aquafaba, 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, half a teaspoon of mustard powder, 3 teaspoons of fresh lime juice, 2 teaspoons of agave nectar, 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt, and a pinch of black Himalayan salt, or kala namak, vegetable oil, and a hand blender. To make our arepas, we're gonna start by adding in our warm water into a large bowl, and then we're gonna slowly add in our harina pan. Keep in mind this is not the same type of corn flour or cornmeal that you would use to make tamales or corn muffins. This is specifically for arepas made in Venezuela, and you can find it at your favorite Latin grocer. Here in LA, I go to Superior. When I lived in Texas, I went to Fiesta, Miami, Presidente, and in New York, you can find it at most bodegas. Now we're gonna mix everything in with our hands and add in slowly the corn flour. I add in more than what I call for, 1.5 cups, because I like a little bit of a tighter arepa, more like a gordita. This is the texture that I like. Again, if you want a more traditional Venezuelan arepa, add less flour. I'm gonna put this in the bowl, set it aside, and get to my mayo. To make our mayo, we're gonna start by straining our chickpeas. And we're gonna pour about 1/4 cup of this aquafaba into a large jar. That's about enough. Now we're gonna add in the rest of our ingredients, starting with our cream of tartar, mustard powder, fresh lime juice, agave nectar, or any sweetener you have on hand, salt, I like pink Himalayan salt, and black Himalayan salt, which gives it an eggy flavor. Now, a little bit goes a long way. Now we're gonna blend till we get to a frothy consistency. It's gonna be about a minute. Now that our mix is nice and frothy, we're gonna keep blending while we slowly add in our olive oil. Now you can use whichever kind of vegetable oil you have on hand. I've done this with avocado oil and that's a really nice touch, but truly any vegetable oil will work as long as you keep adding the oil while you keep blending. That's important because we want the mix to get emulsified and turn into a nice creamy mayo. Also, you can use whichever kind of blender you have on hand, but I do like to use a hand blender because it gives me a little bit more wiggle room. Our mayo is ready to put into a bowl and set into the refrigerator for a while, but just check out this creamy consistency. Yum, a nice citrusy mayo, egg-free, cholesterol-free, super delicious, totally vegan. Now we're ready to start forming our arepas. We're gonna grab our dough and we're gonna make small balls out of this dough. It's important to keep your hands moist while you're rolling these dough balls because you want the masa to get nice and flat when we cook the corn cakes. We're gonna set them aside in a separate bowl while we heat our griddle. If you notice that your masa is a little bit too tight, this would be a moment to add more water to your mix and knead again before forming your patties. So once our griddle or skillet are nice and heated, we're gonna go ahead and oil it. Now we're ready to form our patties. Again, we're gonna do this by moistening our hands, and we're gonna use the palm of our hands to flatten the arepa. We want this to be about 1/2 inch thick. I'm gonna flatten a little bit more before I set this directly onto the griddle. Now notice the cracks on the edges of my arepa. That means that I probably need a little bit more water into my masa mix, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep going because I do like a tighter arepa. These yummy patties are gonna cook on the griddle for about 12 to 15 minutes on each side, and it doesn't matter if they're different sizes, they're all gonna be delicious. Now we're making our yummy filling. We're gonna start by lightly oiling a pan. I'm using a cast iron skillet. And because I'm using olive oil, I don't want it to get overheated, I'm going to add my onion directly to the oil. I'm gonna give it a stir, and we're gonna cook this down until it gets translucent. We don't want the onions to get burnt or caramelized, we just wanna get them translucent. Add our garlic, give it another little toss. And I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to help it sweat. And a little bit of pepper. Now we're gonna add our chickpeas. Yum. Again, this dish traditionally calls for chicken, but this is a vegan kitchen, so we're using chickpeas. Feel free to use jackfruit or any other type of vegan chicken. And now the avocado, the real star of the dish. I like to cube my avocado for this recipe. A lot of my friends like to mash it up before they add it to the mix, but I like it cubed because it reminds me of a recipe my grandma used to make when I was a kid. I'm gonna toss this right in using a spoon to scoop it out. Then we're gonna give it a little stir. Now we're gonna add our cilantro. Just a couple of sprigs. And we're gonna toss that right in. Now we're gonna add our mayonnaise. We're gonna need just a couple of dollops. 1, whoops, 2, and combine it all together. Then we're gonna turn the heat down, give it another little stir, and we're gonna set it aside while we check on our arepas. Oh yeah, these are ready. So I'm flipping these over, let them cook on the other side, while I let my chickpea filling rest a bit. And now we're ready to serve. My arepas are nice and crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. My filling is creamy and delicious, and I'm gonna use the other half of my avocado for garnish. I slice it with the tip of my knife, and I use the side of my knife to press it down into wedges. I'm gonna use a serrated bread knife to cut my arepas. What I wanna do is I wanna make sure to cut this into pockets. So I use a serrated knife to cut through the end, and then I use the tip to cut through the back end. This is the pocket that I'm trying to create so it can hold my filling. Oh, yum. Now let's transform these basic arepas into Reinas Pepiadas, or Curvy Queens, by adding in our warm chickpea and avocado filling made with creamy, egg-free, cholesterol-free mayonnaise. So delicious. We're gonna add in a couple of extra wedges of avocado because, let's be honest, you can never have too much avocado. Oh my gosh, you cannot even imagine the aromas in this place. So yummy. So there you have it, one of my very favorite South American recipes from my kitchen to yours. La Reina Pepiada Venezolana, or the Curvy Queen from Venezuela. Whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. You just gotta try this dish. And if you want to try more Latin-inspired dishes, Latin flavors, Latin heat, plant-based, follow me here, give this video a like, and I want to see you guys soon. So, buen provecho.